How do promotions work? In martial arts, in corporate America, in various sects of blue collar industry, manufacturing, and in the military. These are all places where promotions happen and they're expected to happen. I'm going to hone in on just a couple of things. In martial arts, I think the idea of promotion is based solely on performance, on ability. That's not a hard thing to understand. That makes sense. It makes sense that as you do something for a while, whether it's a stand-up martial art or a grappling martial art like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that there's already a belt system in place, and we assume that is all based on your ability level, your skill level, observable, tangible things, right? And then you look at the military. I'm going to shed a little light on the military side because it's something that a lot of people who've never been in active duty, they don't understand how it works. So in the military, on the active duty side, more or less, you get promoted based off of a few different things. There's a point system that gets applied, and there's cutoff scores, and there's different things like that, which I won't get into. But your skill within your own occupational specialty, your own job in the military, your skill, it's associated with the time that you've spent in service, and also the schools you've attended and the things you've done to show that you are at a certain level of ability that allows you to be promoted and to be effective in that next rank. Your physical conditioning, all these things, your conduct, right? So the military system of promotion is fairly cut and dry. This is the thing, though, that people don't understand, that they don't think about, or it's the side of the military that they don't, it doesn't get a lot of light shined onto it, probably for good reason, is the demotion process. The demotion process is something that rarely happens in the civilian sector. It does, but it rarely happens in the civilian sector. There's a lot of things in play to protect people from some type of unfair treatment or a vendetta or anything like that coming from a higher management being directed at them, right? But in the military, it's different. It's different. And you can be promoted and you could be demoted in the military. You can go down in rank. You can skip ranks and get demoted all the way from E6, E7, all the way down to E1. And you have all the skill sets of an E6, E7. But yet, you find yourself wearing E1 mosquito wings. So it's like, people don't understand how that works. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is the little thing that the civilians have no idea about. And I honestly think that the martial arts community should get on board with. Most people in the military who get demoted for conduct-related reasons. Not skill set, not job performance reasons. That does happen, but most people in the military who get demoted for conduct related reasons. There's something called the UCMJ. Everyone who's been in the military has heard of it. If you've been active duty, you've heard of it a lot because it gets brought up a lot. The Uniform Code of Military Justice. It covers everything that civilian law also enforces, but it covers more than that. anything that a service member does that would bring a bad, that would reflect poorly on the military or their branch of service, anything that would put the military in a bad light based on your conduct is something that leaves you open for some type of disciplinary action. Like I said, everything that's on the civilian law books is applicable, but there's even more. In the military, there's things like adultery that you can get charged with. That doesn't exist in the civilian world. There's minor infractions, misdemeanors in the civilian world can result in severe punishment, or the leading up to severe punishment in the military if you've accumulated enough of these types of infractions. You get disciplinary articles written, and they get put in your service record, but with enough poor behavior demonstrated, you can get demoted. You're setting a precedence for yourself. So we view our military with a high degree of respect, and we see the professionalism that they display. We admire that. And I think in a lot of ways, some of that type of mentality is also given to martial artists, especially competitors. However, in today's world, we're seeing a lack of respect and a lack of proper conduct from these individuals who train martial arts, and it's a problem. It's a problem that a lot of instructors and students see, and they don't understand how it can be fixed. When you come into a martial arts class, you're there to train and to learn techniques and to get better at a skill set. There's not a lot of time, if really any, devoted towards trying to build someone into a better human being, and addressing the conduct and the things that they should or shouldn't be doing. Because to be quite honest, a lot of people don't want to be told that what they're doing is right or wrong, or how they live is right or wrong. So that's kind of like an area that doesn't get touched, right? And I'm not proposing that it does necessarily, but what I am proposing is this, and it's not gonna, a lot of people are not gonna be down with it, they're not gonna like it, but when you understand the value of repercussion and of consequence, it makes sense. And what I'm gonna propose is this: a martial arts rank, well, I'm gonna use jiu-jitsu as an example, should be revocable if the academy or the instructor that issued it with the criteria of both skill and personal conduct. So what that means is, if you promoted, let's say, someone to purple belt or brown belt or black belt, whatever, blue belt, I'm going to cover all the ranks, right? But you promoted them, and this is for instructors who actually do this, not people who don't care. But for those who actually do this, if you promote people and you view their conduct and their behavior and the way they just who they are as a human being as a part of the process, as a part of the value of that next belt rank, along with the skill that they've demonstrated, then if they do something that would tarnish your academy or your name or what you represent, they've essentially betrayed an aspect of that promotion. And in light of that, that belt can be taken from them. You can disavow the promotion. The same as it goes in the military. There's really good dudes in the military who are exceptionally phenomenal leaders and great at their job in uniform, who've made decisions while off duty that resulted in them being demoted. So that's the hurdle, the mental hurdle that instructors have is, well, this guy's clearly at a purple, brown, black belt level in skill. How is that even to make them wear any other belt, to knock them down to a certain rank? How does that work? What would that look like? And what I'm getting at is this. In the military, there's a lot of times where you decide not to behave in a certain way or to act in a certain way when you're on liberty, or you're cut loose on the weekend, or whatever, you're on leave, because you know that there are consequences to it. There's plenty of young guys, young Marines, young soldiers, sailors, who are concerned, who have concerns about them losing the rank that took them however long to earn. They understand that that's on the table. That's a risk that they have to assess if they want to engage in a certain type of behavior or activity. Not everyone obviously thinks that way, but it's a deterrent for a lot of people. I'm going to tell you that right now. The potential of going to the brig, which is military jail, that's a deterrent, right? But the demotion thing is no joke. So if that's something that is leveraged, and rightly so, for all the reasons that I pointed out, if it's leveraged, I think that it's something that should be utilized. If someone has the option, if they mess up, man, and they conduct themselves, they behave in a certain way that makes your academy, or it makes you look really bad, to where when people hear about your school or hear about you, what you guys do, and they associate the behaviors of that person or maybe some other folks too, and you in general have a black eye, essentially. You have this black eye of from the behaviors of your students and even maybe your coaches. You should consider giving them the ultimatum of accepting a demotion for how they've conducted themselves, and it would really be public knowledge at that point. So there's like some humiliation that goes along with that, because people are going to ask, why are you now wearing this belt? Or you just give them the boot, and then you disavow the belt publicly. You say, hey, so-and-so was this rank under my academy. They conducted themselves this way. They did X, Y, Z. Now I disavow that belt. They no longer hold that rank at this academy. And then you leave it to whatever school they bounce to determine what they want to do, and if they want to have that person lined up in their class, and leave it at that. But there's got to be a deterrent. There has to be a deterrent for bad behavior in martial arts, because things are not getting better. I can't vouch for every martial art, but I could tell you that in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and mainly in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but in MMA too, maybe some other striking schools are having some issues. But realistically, man, I see it as a big Jiu-Jitsu issue. There has to be that consequence for poor behavior. And people that want to argue about what I do outside the gym got anything to do with you? That's how they're going to come at it. They're going to come at you that way. How I live outside the gym. It has nothing to do with you, professor or coach or whatever. You know, you could use exactly what I've said about how the military operates. People respect a professional organization. Professional organizations all have a code of conduct. Every professional organization does. Your local, you know, I don't know, mechanics garage, or, you know, some little like flower shop, any small thing. A lot of times they don't. You know, they don't. They're just doing their thing. But like, we're talking professional organizations that deserve and seek out respect. They all have codes of conduct. And I'm going to let you guys in on another thing. The code of conduct gets more strict as you rise in rank. It doesn't get easier. It does not get easier. It actually gets harder. It gets more. It gets more scrutiny, and there's a higher expectation as your rank goes up in the military. I'm not saying that, you know, NCOs, you know, or higher staff NCOs in the military. I'm using enlisted rank a lot more than officers, because I don't know how officers get down, but there's a lot more expectation because there's a lot more responsibility given to those people. The leadership and the example that they set, it has a higher value placed on it. So by default, their conduct, their behavior is under larger scrutiny than a brand new enlisted person. And I think the same should be happening in martial arts, should be happening in your academy. Your higher ranking students or your coaches should be at a higher level. They should conduct themselves at a higher level of discipline and conduct than your new white belt, because of that necessity for example, and that need to be an actual proper leader. So this was a much longer discussion than I had anticipated, but I think all good points are made, and some points may be expounded on further.